Today at Manchester Theatres, I am thrilled to be here with the multi-talented Allan Stewart, who is currently touring with The Wizard of Oz, and it is due to come to the Palace Theatre Manchester from the 24th of April. Now, Allan is a brilliant person to know in showbiz because he started out as a singer, but then very quickly got lured into the world of comedy and television, where he was in shows such as Hello, Good Evening, Welcome, Copycats, Live at the Palladium, Night of a Thousand Stars. He even had his own quiz show called Chain Letters. And on stage, he has been in shows such as Jolson, Stones in His Pockets. He has been in The Producers and is pretty much the king of pantomime in Edinburgh, having been in, I think it's a whopping 27, 28 performances.
That's right. 27 this year.
Yeah, something like that. So we are very lucky to have you flying in to Manchester as the Wizard. So thank you so much for joining us today, Allan.
It's a pleasure. It's lovely to be here. It really is. It's a lovely build-up. I can't follow that now.
I'm sure you can. So The Wizard of Oz, it really doesn't need too much introduction as a story, but can you share with people whether this is going to be like a classic retelling? Is there some twists, turns, surprises, new songs, anything like that?
Yes, well, it's a really exciting production. There's a lot of projection in it, and it's just really buzzy, and the yellow brick road is not the normal thing you would expect. It's all moving parts around the stage. Dorothy is just the most beautiful little girl. She really is. She's got big eyes, and she comes over. It's an expression I use. She comes over the footlights. It really is perfect, you know. I saw it in London when it opened with Gary Wilmot playing the Wizard of Oz. And it was funny because the producer, Michael Harrison, of the show was sitting just in front of me. And I've known Michael for many years. He actually saw me in one of my first pantos when he was in university. Anyway, we're friends. And he turned to me while we're all standing applauding. He said, "What part do you want to play when it goes on tour?" And I said, "Dorothy." So we just laughed and moved on. And I forgot all about it until many months later. He said, "Well, you know," I said, "What part do you want to play? In fact, would you play the Wizard?" Of course, I jumped at it because it's a lovely part. It's not a big part. It's almost like a cameo. You're on at the beginning playing Professor Marvel, and then you're on at the end when you're revealed as the Wizard of Oz. Mm-hmm. Did you see it in London?
I did, yes.
You did, yeah. So you're revealed as the Wizard of Oz. And it's great, you know, it's really great. I only did my first show last night in Newcastle, so I'm very new to it, and I'm still a bit rabbit in the headlights because the words are very blah 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 like that. So yes, I got through it without any major problems. So I'm pleased about that.
Oh, so the Wizard. So you said you're playing the Wizard. What's your take on him? Is he a good guy? Is he a little bit of a con artist? Who is he?
Well, I believe he's a good guy. He's one of those people that's become very powerful, and he's got this booming voice that everybody hears and believes. And he really thinks he's got power. And of course, when he's turned around in his chair and you just see he's just a normal little man. He's got a fabulous suit on. I've had this suit made, which is magnificent. And I turn around and everybody just listens and goes, "Who are you?" You know, and he does say, I'm a good man. I'm just a very bad wizard." And I don't think he's a bad man. He's definitely not a bad man. Because he does grant them all the wishes, and he explains to them why you've got a heart and why you've got a brain and all these sort of things. So yeah, I believe he's a good man. I'm making him a good man.
You're making him a good man. Oh, good. I love it. Well, you've already sort of mentioned there that when it was at the Palladium, Gary Wilmot played the part of the Wizard, who, of course, you were in Copycats with. So have you spoken to him about playing the role? Has he given you any like little tidbits or anything?
Yeah, well, I went to see him in Wimbledon, and I did a rehearsal there because I've had to slot in with everybody. He did from the beginning. And then there's another person, Alex Bourne, who's been doing it in between. When Gary left, Alex took over. And I went to see Gary, and I've known him. We sat chatting. We had lots of laughs, you know. He said the hardest part is sitting in the dressing room waiting to go on for your next spot, because you do the first bit, then you sit for a good 35 minutes before you do anything else. So he said, get a hobby. I've not got a hobby. My hobby's show business. My hobby's walking out on stage. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll watch videos. I'll read. But it was good. The little pointers that he said, you know, that there's one bit at the end where I give out all the prizes to the lion and all that. He said it's very repetitive. So he said, really work on differentiating each one, you know. So yeah, Gary's been lovely. He called me the other night. He said, I thought you'd be bored in your dressing room. I said, I haven't opened yet. He went, oh, okay, I'll call you next week. But yeah, it's great. It's lovely to speak to him.
Yeah, yeah. And because you do so many I mean, I grew up watching Copycats, and you do so many different comedy impressions and stuff. Do you like using that skill to kind of play around with a character to find what voice you're going to use, or
Yeah, well, it was he's American, the wizard, and I kind of when I played Jolson, it's a similar voice to Jolson, although he's a little bit more blustery. He kind of it doesn't answer directly. He gets a little bit lost in his conversation, but he explains it eventually. So I've made him in as Professor Marvel a little bit kind of doddery. But when he becomes the wizard, he's much more powerful. And when he starts giving instructions to the Tin Man and the Lion, etc., he's much more forceful. So it's two slightly different characters I've found. That's the way I'm playing it.
yeah,
Harry played it away and Alan played it in his own way. And we've got to try and find our own. I'd like to
of course.
find a few laughs, but I didn't find any last night. It's not,
Oh,
it's not really a funny character, but hopefully within a week or two, I'll find just a couple of little sniggers at least. You
yeah.
know, I like to hear a titter here and there.
And the dog Toto. Oh my goodness. So in
Fantastic.
this, I know you forget. So it's a puppet. You forget,
Absolutely, yeah.
but you forget it. The person, like the puppeteer playing it, is so
She's amazing,
fantastic.
amazing. But there's a bit where I'm on the bike at the beginning and I call the dog over and it jumps up into my arm and it looks into my face. And I'm a dog lover. We got a dog during the lockdown and I
Oh,
adore my cockapoo. And it's like the way the puppet looks at you and looks away and you give him a treat and away he goes. It really is
yeah.
a masterpiece in acting. It's just wonderful. You don't see the girl eventually. It's just the dog you watch.
Yeah, you are. It's
Yeah.
directed so beautifully that I think because she's looking at the dog all the time as well. So if you do look at
Yeah.
her, you're like, oh well, then what's she looking at? So she's looking. It's
Yeah.
brilliant. It's so clever, so clever. And you've mentioned the Yellow Brick Road. So this fascinated me as well because it's just the way it's done. It's like you said, is the individual pieces for each kind of character as they're finding their way and they spin and they move. And does
Yeah.
it kind of, do you want to go on any of it? Maybe that's what you could do. You could come on and
Come on
that
and
could
do
be
that.
your
No,
hobby.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm not great with movement. There's a little there's a little prop I have in the very first thing when I come out and I put the sausages on the bike. And there's a little prop that makes it spark. And it's never worked once yet. It works
Oh,
every time at the side of the stage. It works in every rehearsal, but every time I go on to do the thing, it doesn't work. And you can almost see my face going on, not again. So movement and props, not my forte.
and the music in The Wizard of Oz, I mean, it's just iconic, isn't it? And the big song Over the Rainbow. I mean, there's so many big songs, but Over the Rainbow, I mean, it's got to be one of the most famous movie musical songs
Absolutely. Yeah,
of
yeah.
all time. Do you still kind of just go when you're hearing it now?
I'm sitting waiting to come on when Dorothy's singing Over the Rainbow. And especially this little girl, Aviva, I call her a little girl because she's small and she's petite and she's just lovely on stage. I don't know whether you'll come and see it in Manchester, but you'll
Yes.
see just how beautiful she is. And it's hair in the back of the head when she sings it, when
Yeah.
she hits the last note at the end. And also another thing that I didn't realize until yesterday was that all the ensemble come down and do the backing singing live at the side of the stage. Whereas I assumed it would be on a track, which most musicals have track backing, but they're all standing there and it's really rousing when she goes, oh, and they're all singing behind me, you know, and I'm
Yeah.
standing thinking, will my prop work? Will it flash? No, it didn't flash again.
I love it. I love it. And so talk to me about, I'm fascinated how you've mentioned the cast. So many of the roles are being shared as the tour goes on. Is
Mm.
this just like rehearsal wise? How is this even working? Because there's people coming in and out of it all the time.
It's been very difficult for me. Al started at the start of the tour rehearsals. So he was in at the beginning, rehearsing with everybody. Uh, Gary had been there already, so he slotted in. I've had to do everything on my own. Now I'm a very slow learner. So I started when I finished pantomime, I got back home. I thought, right, I'm starting now because the song is very wordy. So I started and I just learned it every day. So I've really been doing all of this on my own. And then I come in at a big rehearsal with the director, and she was amazed. She said, I can't believe you know it. I couldn't believe I knew it. Then we went on to a dress run. So I've really only done it twice with the cast. Once was yesterday and once was way back 6 weeks ago. So it's difficult. I can't say it's easy. And I know it's going to be difficult because Craig Revel Horwood comes in 2 weeks' time in Woking.
Yeah.
So he'll come in on the same way. He'll have been just learning it on his own, and then they slot him in, and that's a much, much bigger part. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't like to be him at the moment. I can tell you that because
Yeah.
he simply has trouble with words as well. It's a terrible thing, this. I always learn it, but I've just got to say to every director, please give me 2 months. Somebody said you're in a show in 2 weeks' time. I'll just say I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't. And it's just one of those things. It's a kind of a slight kind of dyslexia in learning. I don't know if there is such a thing, but I've got it. I've developed this thing.
But you know how to work with it, and that's
I don't work with it. That's it. I get there in the end. I mean, the Jolson part and the producer part, they were massive parts. Stones in His Pockets was 2.5 hours on stage, and I always at the end of it go, how did I learn it? But I do learn it. And my wife, who's great, she's always helped me with them, or not recently, but she did in the beginning. She said, you always get there, so stop moaning about it. Just do it.
Yeah, just do it. Just do it. Well, we're very grateful that you are just doing it, because I can't wait for you to come along. So if you got the chance to ask the wizard for something, what would you, because I was thinking about this, I was like, oh, I don't know, but what would you ask the wizard for, maybe?
Memory. It was similar to a brain like the Tin Man, but I would say to the wizard, give me the memory of my daughter, because my daughter Kate, who's in the business, she listens to a song 3 times and she knows it. And I literally, even for a song for my act, I take a month learning it, and I know it inside out before I walk on stage with it. So that's what I'm going to ask the wizard for. Please give me a memory to remember songs and words.
It is granted. And I don't know, I've just made myself the wizard there, but I'm granting it.
That's fine. That's fine.
And before we finish off, this show, it's just got the feel good factor. And every time, like if you speak to someone will give a different memory or there's so many iconic things about it. The red slippers and the lines and the songs and the munchkins and the lollipop. There's all these things. What is it for you? Do you have like a favorite? Now that you're in it, you might be viewing it differently. So do you have like a standout moment or something that you just love about the show?
I would love to have been given the chance to play the lion, actually. I would love to play the lion. I think the lions are great. Go, put him up, and the way he goes, I just love all that. So that's the bit that I've watched from the back, and we've got a lovely lion at the moment. Nick, I'm not good with the names either.
The memory.
And he's a big guy. He's like 6'7" in it. And I do a bit where I can't get the medal on him because he's too high. So I've got to jump. So he's lovely. And I think that's the bit that I realized from watching at the back that's got so much personality in it. The other two guys, they're not looking for laughs, but the lion is looking for it. And then, of course, in Manchester, Jason Manford, who I just met at breakfast this morning. We had a chat, and he had his script with him at breakfast. And I said, you did it for 10 weeks. He said, yeah, I know, but I've forgotten it. I'm starting again as far as I'm concerned. So,
your own.
Yeah, I'm not on my own. There's lots of people out there cramming words at the moment.
Yeah. Oh, Alan, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you today. And yeah, I cannot wait to come along and watch it again. I'm going to bring my niece and nephew to watch it. So it's going to be magical to see it.
Say hello then.
Yeah. That'd be lovely. It'll be magical to see it through their eyes as well. So you can catch it at the Palace Theatre, The Wizard of Oz, from the 24th of April. Thank you so much, and we look forward to you flying in.
Pleasure. See you.
Thank you.
Bye.